Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Christy Augustine from Bloomreach. Christy, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. Tell us your day-to-day role and one of your passions in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. Christy Augustine, I'm the COO at Bloomreach. I've been with Bloomreach for almost 15 years now. And right now, what I am working on is our agents, our conversational agent, our campaign agents. So any of our new products that we are launching in the generative AI space. And that is something I'm super passionate about, but I would extend that to just being passionate about that in higher education as well, and making sure that all of our undergraduates, future soon to be graduates, really are prepared for this next work world, since it's so different than I think what any of the rest of us have experienced. So that's my personal passion right now.
Yeah, my son is a developer, and he has to have embraced AI for development. So yeah, if you're not on board, you're going to get left behind. I think is the case. No matter if it's in generative or analytics or coding or whatever that thing is, there's so many tools you can use to help you with your job now, and it doesn't have to be making a social post. It could be something else that's in the pipeline, right? Even developing sales pipelines are an exciting use case for AI. Like there's almost everything is a use case, maybe except for if you have to trim your bushes, might not be one. But Christy, before we get started though, I do want to invite you to the Free Joke Project. I'm going to tell you a joke, and all you do is give me a rating 8 through 13. So here we go. There's a new dating app that caters to arsonists. Every week you get new matches.
I gotta go. If I'm rating it as like a dad joke, I'll give you a 13 for sure.
Yeah, you were expecting a funny joke. Now I can see. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it's pretty typical. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so let's dive in. Bloomreach, give us the 10,000. First, let's give us the 10,000 foot view for those who don't know what Bloomreach is, and then let's kind of go into some of the automations and agents. I love agents.
Yeah, agents are great. Bloomreach, Bloomreach personalizes commerce experiences end to end, from marketing automation through the full website. And so depending on, as a user, whether you're opening that email or SMS and you want that to be personalized to what you're interested in, through to the website and what you're searching for, what you're looking for, Bloomreach personalizes all of those experiences and customer touch points, because you want those to be seamless. You want someone who's coming through an email to be on the website and have one seamless experience.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect. In the green room, we did talk a little bit about agents. An agent can be anything that helps you with anything on the site, but give us your idea of what an agent does inside of Bloomreach and how it helps your customers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Agents can be built to automate or to do a lot of different things and a lot of different use cases right now. And I think that when it comes to commerce, there are a couple of different places people have really started. One is conversational shopping. And on the website, being able to have a conversation with a customer, whereas before it really was this product catalog that you were giving them different configurations of. Now you can engage in a different way with your customers and have that agent be able to have a conversation, address questions that maybe you didn't anticipate they were going to ask before, because now it is open for them to tell you more about what they're looking for. And so that's one version, I think, for commerce that's very popular right now with agents.
Yeah, I think one of the things, maybe make a distinguishment between an agent that is sort of like your customer service, that's just a bot that's there and you recognize they're an AI agent. Yours a little more in depth. Talk about sort of the depth of what an agent can do. And outside of like maybe the basic agent is a call tree, right? Kind of answering your FAQs and then leading you to a customer service person. I think you're talking a little more deeper, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, people are very comfortable right now that there's probably going to be a customer service agent on a shopping website, and that customer service agent is going to answer questions related to returns or where's my order. This conversational shopping agent is really like imagining you can take the best store associate you ever had and putting them on your website. My favorite example is, imagine you're on the Vera Wang website, you're looking at wedding dresses, and you can have Vera Wang helping you pick out that wedding dress. that kind of most knowledgeable, best sales associate that you have, imagine you can have that on your website and engage with your consumers that way.
Yeah, and I can not that I'm gonna I have been married for 33 years, and it's odd because I'm 32 years old, but the idea of an agent helping you like that and then having that expert, like I can relate in terms of development, there's a Claude front-end developer skill. You can drop in a look and it'll come back with a great look for you, right? I think that's kind of what you're saying, and that in the retail space, agents can help you with everything, and that their expertness is, I don't know if that's a word, but expertness is exceptional, right?
Exactly. The expertise, the tone, the compliance with brand is going to be exactly what you were hoping for on your website. And so it's not just can I answer questions, but it's can I be an expert and help you discover what you were looking for. If you are planning a vacation, that is going to be very different than if you're planning your outfit for the first day of school. And so, really having someone who can be at 40,000 feet, helping me figure out what am I doing in this experience, all the way down to I found the product I'm looking for and I need to know how much these boots weigh. I'm going on a hike and I'm not experienced. I don't want something that's got 5 extra pounds on my hike. Things that are very specific, I think, about the product. You can have that agent being 40,000 feet, help me figure out that outfit, all the way down to tell me specifically my question on this product.
Yeah, I think it was about a year ago that agentic commerce, that buzzword kind of hit the ground going, and maybe it was a little bit more than a year, but agentic, where you have an agent that comes out and visits your site and interacts with an agent on the site. Where do you see that in the current workflow of things, where an agent meets an agent and they negotiate and they buy something?
Yeah, yeah. The holy grail, right? That you don't even have to really be involved in. I think it's really interesting from a consumer perspective that the easier you can make people's lives, the more people are going to adopt it. So certainly there's a lot related to our shopping experiences that are just kind of cumbersome. I always buy toilet paper every week. I always buy the same one. And you know what? Within certain price range, just go buy it. Or I only buy it at this price, or I only buy it if there's a coupon. And I think the agent to agent protocol, when we get to the point where the consumer can set that up and say, every week I need this, but I only buy it when it's on sale, or I only buy it when it's $3.25, and you're empowered to go do it. That makes my life so much better. On the flip side, there's so much emotion in shopping. There's so much that is my personal preference in the moment. And I don't think people are one size fits all. I don't only buy jeans in August and a certain brand and a certain type, right? Trends evolve, my preferences evolve. So I think that there's still some aspects that we're going to see in retail consumer shopping that is not going to be this agent to agent protocol, automate everything away and go buy it for me. There's just different types of purchases and different rationale.
Yeah, I think, a little more than a year ago, a lot of people were saying websites are going to go away, right? And that everything's going to happen within ChatGPT, all the buying experience, and that they'll mimic kind of what your site should look like. But I tend to believe that brands are going to want to keep their brand in their lane on their website. They're not going to give the brand 100% to an LLM, just like they don't give it to 100% to Amazon right now. What's your opinion on the viability of websites into the future?
Yeah, I think I'm much more aligned with you. I think that ChatGPT answer engines need to be viewed as another channel. You need to have a presence, you need to participate because that is where consumers are going. That's one of their discovery angles now, just like SEO was a channel, just like email is a channel. People are participating, and certainly some of the recent studies, I know there was one by Bain that over 60% of people are doing shopping and discovery on the answer engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity. And so I think you need to participate there. That said, as you were mentioning, I mean, is the site going to go away? You've got loyal shoppers. You've got a brand. You've got experiences that you're offering to those consumers. That is equally important to them and that's your base. And so I don't see e-commerce sites just kind of going away and everything is done elsewhere. There's a depth of experience with your brand that I think you're going to need to maintain.
Yeah, and control. I think the other maybe parallel to that is everybody said email is dead. They've been saying email is dead for the last, 10 years now. And
Yes.
email continues to be a strong avenue for sales. And email is your channel that you own, right? You don't turn it over to ChatGPT, who knows, they could get sold to somebody else and now you're lose some of your channel or your algorithm changes or whatever. It's your list and you use it as you want, right? Maybe websites are the same kind of idea.
I definitely think so. I mean, I think you bring up a great point about control. And as you use some of the different channels, you are giving up some of the control of your brand, but also visibility. I mean, there's a lot of people competing for visibility on ChatGPT. And when you get someone to your website, you know they're interested in you. You've got that captive audience and you want to make sure you give them the best possible experience that you can. And so I think that you just think about them as different channels and different purposes of what you're trying to do with an answer engine site versus SEO versus on site.
You had mentioned earlier about personalization, and I remember, 5 years ago, too personalized was kind of creepy. But personalization has come full swing where people on a website almost expect that you know enough about them to help them, right? Talk about how you're advancing the personalization and really, I think more importantly, how AI is helping to direct the right personal item to the person who's looking at it, right? That's the key.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It was, even for, I mean, personalization's been talked about for 10 years now, more for sure. And when we really first started to see personalization coming into commerce, it was creepy. And I think because it was very kind of single variable type of personalization, I know what you just bought. And I'm going to try to get you to buy it again or get you to buy something that goes with it. But it was very, very specific and not tuned to the fact that we are multidimensional, emotional people. And so there are lots of factors, not just, hey, I just bought this dress and thank you for reminding me that I just bought this dress. That's kind of creepy. To, that I know that you're a complex person. And I think you start to see that in some of the answer engine discussions and the way that answer engines like ChatGPT come back with you, understanding that there's lots of different things and checking in with you. Is this what you were looking for? Is this really what you wanted to know? Puts the user kind of back in control of that personalization. And so I think that now that we're able to have more data and more, large language models that can reflect that dynamic nature of shopping and people, I think it's become less creepy and way more useful than we saw before, where, you can just show a product in an email. Now you can have a conversation and you can check in with the customer and say, is this what you wanted? Are you sure? Hey, help me understand you a little bit more. That gives me comfort and control back into what I'm doing.
If we go back to the agent discussion, the idea of having a human in the loop at times where you have a way to exit out of where you're at, I think that people start trusting your brand when it give you the answer, and when it can't, they want to talk to a human. How do you ensure, what is your guidelines around ensuring humans are in the loop and that somebody doesn't get caught in an agent loop where they start giving you the same answer over and over again? You get so frustrated. I've had the personal experience where I've left a brand now because of the chatbot, and you don't want that to happen. You want them to trust you, and it should gain more trust, not lose trust.
Yeah, and I think there are kind of pros and cons to it. On the pro, just by nature of us being able to have these conversations and you get voice of the customer, you're learning so much more about what your customers actually want from you. We were doing reading the tea leaves before, right? Like, oh, they clicked on this product and oh, they bounced. So they must not have liked it. Or they stayed on this page for 5 minutes. They must have really liked this page. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't find what they were looking for on that page. And maybe that was the 5 minutes. But in these conversations, they're telling you and you're getting voice of the customer. And so I think even in a situation where, you're you've given the same answer 5 times. Getting that transcript, understanding that your language model failed, that you can actually act on it. This is new tech. And so I think that doing this now and getting that kind of learning is only going to make you better for the future. But as you said, you have to have consumers be in control. They have to be able to exit out and say, I want to talk to an agent. You're not helping me right now. For whatever reason that is, I've given you the same answer 5 times, or it's just not really what you were looking for and helpful. And we've certainly all been in the store where the store associate has to go get the manager because they don't know, and we're still figuring it out. But I think the more that you can be close to your consumer and you can see that interaction, just the better off you're going to be in the long run.
I heard an interesting stat yesterday that impressions are up on Google in Google search and clicks are down. And part of that reason is that especially Google is giving you that
Yeah.
question answer or the little bit at the top where Gemini is giving you some answers to the questions you're getting, and there's no need to click through anymore. Do you have a encouragement or a way that you help people to maybe navigate their content now in this newer way of doing things to get content on your site that isn't going to just give you that sentence on Google at the top and that nobody has to click through because they've already they've already gotten the answer?
Yeah. And I have to say, I mean, I love the AI overviews. I love that Google. I think as people, as customers, we love when something becomes easier and you get the answer that you're looking for right at the top. And so very happy that they are doing that. I think that from a customer acquisition perspective, the concern is I'm not getting those clicks. I'm not having the people come through. I would say number one, a lot of those answers or those overviews relate to things that were quick answers before, that if someone was going to come to your site, they weren't probably buying anyways. They were looking for a quick answer to something. When consumers are looking to purchase um, or explore more on your site, they're clicking through to your site. They're not just getting an AI overview and saying, great, the color for the season is yellow. And so, those value of those click throughs, I think is really important to think about. And then two, really the new channels and making sure that you are showing up in ChatGPT, that when someone is coming through, that you're understanding that context and that you're giving them a way to continue the conversation so it's as relevant as possible. For sure, I think that people are seeing their SEO drop and they're seeing their AEO increase. We've seen that AEO click-throughs are still tend to be in the single digits for most people. The growth rate's really high, but the amount of clicks is single digits, while
Mm.
SEO has dropped for exactly as you said, AI answers, click-throughs, but not seeing the economic impact as much yet related to that.
I know Bloomreach is a composable platform, and composable. I'm not saying composable has been taking a hit, but there's been somewhat of a trend to go back to monolith, but in the
Mm.
same breath, it's gotten so much easier to create composable now, especially with AI.
Yeah.
Where's your view on being composable or embedding? The difference would be one you're sitting within that stack, and tell us a little bit about your idea about where's composable going.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. There's a very common phrase and very much what people were looking at doing 5 years ago. And there was this kind of backlash from I had this large platform, everything was on it, and I didn't as a tech team or an IT team, I didn't feel empowered to do best of breed type of building, and I really wanted that flexibility. I think that the trade-off with a lot of that flexibility was it wasn't connecting together. So you ended up with these experiences for your consumers that was not seamless. Email wasn't talking to the website or talking to SMS. And it was very much a view from a tech stack perspective and not from a customer perspective of how do I create this experience that they would really value. And so there's been a lot of how do I connect the dots of how do I get a customer data platform and try to connect the dots. So I think as we see more and more MCP come out, you're going to see more and more of that solution of how do I connect the dots. And the tech stack, I think, is just going to become more and more flexible for the tech teams because I can connect in as quickly as possible. I can connect my data together, give that consumer experience. So I think we're going to see composable not be talked about as much. And it's going to be more about my data layer and my connectivity across all of them. What kind of data signals can I leverage?
Yeah, and it does really bubble up the premier players, especially the niche players that maybe they only offer e-commerce and they don't offer CMS, or their CMS offering is light or non-existent, that it allows for really a great experience for everybody. And I think you're right too. The idea that the tech stack it's gotten easier. I'm just going to say it's gotten much easier to put together and make it seamless, especially with front ends that are now easier to create and deploy.
For sure. I think it's an exciting time. I remember as a software engineer in the mid 90s, I mean, you were building it from scratch in C++ and Java. And now the rate of deployment of what these tech teams can do for their consumers is pretty exciting.
I guess, what is your outlook now for this year? We've heard, on the economy side, there's been a lot of layoffs recently, but on the flip side, like Facebook has had great growth from an e-commerce standpoint in terms of sales. What is your outlook now for maybe this first half of the year?
Yeah. I mean, definitely the economy is a question mark for people, particularly given layoffs. And I think that has meant people continue to have a lot of the same needs that they've had before, but how I'm going to spend that dollar is going to get more scrutiny than it did before. And because it's going to get more scrutiny, you need to make sure that you are bringing that kind of expertise that we talked about earlier onto your website, because people are going to have more questions before they make that purchase. If you can't answer those questions, they're not spending that dollar, because that dollar's become more precious to them. So right now, while we're not seeing those sales trends go down, I think that you are going to see this increase in time on site. You are going to see this increase of, can I ask questions? I'm doing my due diligence. I'm not going to buy this product till I'm sure. I think on the flip side, hopefully that means your returns start to look better and better as well. But that dollar value is causing more questions before I hit that buy button.
Yeah, and I have like one last questions in my head. So I'll ask you this one. Like, the experience in the chat of offering an upsell, where's Bloomreach in that? And like, I see more and more potential that you have with your agent on your site to send them to upsell pages, to send them to alternative pages, to even offer something in chat that's a deal. Is that a no-brainer nowadays? Is that something that's a 101 for marketing on your website?
I think it's certainly something everyone loves to talk about: product recommendations, upsell, cross sell opportunities, offering discounts. And the real nuance to it is that it needs to be relevant for the consumer. And so the more personalized it is, the more it's in context of what they're trying to do, the more relevant it is, the more impact you're going to have. Certainly, we've all seen when you do the discounts or ads and the products don't match what the customer's looking for. Here are all these pens that are 50% off, and I was looking for a laptop, but someone paid for that ad, so I'm going to show it to you. And so I think it's relatively easy to put that into a conversation or put that into your shopping, but making it relevant and something that actually is going to drive impact, I think that's harder, and where the connectivity of all this data, consumer data, product data, is really going to matter.
Yeah. All right. So I have one more question, then I promise I'll stop asking questions. That experience then from the agent side, um, that's going to impact how we're learning. How are you helping then the teams learn what the agents are learning from the clients?
Yeah. So that is actually kind of one of the most interesting places, is you are getting all of this unstructured data. And your agents need to learn from them, but honestly, so do you as a retailer. And it is one of the most popular things I've seen in the retailers is they're very much looking for the voice of the customer insights. And so not only do your conversational agents need to have a great customer experience on your website and be able to have that great conversation, but your back end needs to have the analytics. And that's tricky because you need to respect privacy and security. So there's no, "Hey, this is this person's transcript." So you need to take that unstructured data and bubble that up to themes that someone can actually act on. Like 60% of your conversations are about fit of the product. Is this going to fit me? Is the material stretchy? Does this run small? How much do those boots weigh? And guiding retailers on those themes so that they can make their content more relevant. There's been a lot of that where I've heard, wow, I didn't even people wanted to know this. I didn't even know that. I have that data. I know that about these products, but my real estate's limited. Now your real estate's not limited when you can be having a conversation.
Yeah, that's what a great point. There's a thing called the Johari window where you have
Yes,
4 quadrants, and there's a quadrant you don't know it, they don't know it. You're gonna find this is a great way to help uncover the unknowns of the unknowns, right? You've got such a great point there, and I think this is really where AI shines, is helping you understand things you didn't know you should understand.
exactly.
All right. So, Christy, we have a few minutes left. As I close out the podcast, I give everybody a chance to do a shameless plug about anything they like. What would you like to plug today?
I'm definitely going to plug Bloomreach. My shameless plug is definitely, I think, what we were talking about earlier, which is if you're on the fence on conversational shopping, you should start now. It's the amount of learning that you're going to get, like we just talked about from your consumers. It really outweighs the hesitancy I think people have on, well, is the algorithm going to be perfect? What is it going to say? And there's so many guardrails at this point that you're really not going to be running across something that you're worried about what it's going to say. But that kind of like that start now, learn from your consumers. It's just a whole new voice of the customer that you couldn't get before.
That's perfect. Christy Augustine is the CTO with Bloomreach. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thing, do what you wanna do. I can't tell you who the song it to.